Alright guys, this is our final grammar review of everything we've done all year. We're doing this in class on Friday, May 9th, but you can use this video anytime between now and the end of the school year to prepare for our final grammar quiz on May 30th. Alright, so what do you need to know for the quiz? Let's just go through the list. You need to know nouns, specifically proper and common nouns, singular and plural nouns, and possessive nouns. Remember, and we're going to go through all these at the end of toward the rest of the video. Nouns, verbs, you know, action verbs, state of being verbs, past, present, future tense verbs. Continuing on, you need to know adjectives. You need to know what the difference between positive, comparative, and superlative adjectives are. You need to know what proper adjectives are, and you need to know demonstrative adjectives. Also with that, we have adverbs. Again, adverbs can be positive, comparative, or superlative. And then we have pronouns, which can be object or subject pronouns, and indefinite pronouns. And lastly, we have prepositions. You need to know what kind of words are prepositions. You need to know what the object of the preposition is, and you need to be able to find a prepositional phrase. You need to know what conjunctions are, and you need to know what interjections are. So those are the 8 concepts we've been studying since October until now, and you need to be able to know those. So that's what you need to know. This is what you need to be able to actually do, some skills that you need to have. You need to know what the 8 parts of speech are and what they mean. So you need to know their definitions. You need to be able to take a sentence and identify what part of speech each word in that sentence is. And it sounds difficult, but it's really not once we've done all this already. We're just putting it all together. You need to be able to find errors in usage of words and be able to correct them. And you need to just be able to complete other tasks and answer questions. So those are the 4 things that you have to be able to do on the quiz using the stuff that you know. So what we're going to do now is go through all 8 parts of speech very quickly and review them. So you can take notes on this, but if you need to go more in depth on these, watch the other videos that are already on our website. This is going to give you kind of a quick run through of all 8 parts of speech, but it's not going to go in depth onto any of them. You need to go back and look at the other videos if you need to. So a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. We have proper nouns, which are particular persons, places, things, or ideas, like the name Jim or the city Clio or Facebook as a proper noun. Those are different from common nouns, which are more general. Boy is a common noun that could be, instead of Jim, town is a common noun instead of Clio, website instead of Facebook's. These are general, these are specific, particular ones. Singular nouns are only one, where plural nouns are more than one. Bats, cats, desks. You add S to make those plural. Possessive nouns show ownership. You add apostrophe S to make a noun possessive. So if it said Kim's bat or dog's food, something like that. Okay, so those are what you need to know about nouns. We also have verbs, and every sentence will have a verb no matter what. So you can always find a complete sentence with a verb, because a verb is an action or a state of being. You don't have a sentence without an action word or a state of being like am, is, are, was, were. Okay? So we have action verbs. Anything you can do is an action verb. And then we also have the state of being verbs. Am, is, are, was, were, and then the forms of be, like be, been, have been, will be. Those are all verbs. Okay? Verbs show time because they can be past tense, present tense, or future tense, and there's different ways we show that. Most past tense verbs have ed at the end. Most present tense verbs will end in ing, and all future tense verbs will have will in front. So that's how you can identify past, present, and future. Alright, now we get into the describing parts of speech. So we have adjectives, are words that describe nouns, and this should say or pronouns. Let me actually put that. A noun or a pronoun is what is described by an adjective. Now, we use adjectives to compare, and there are degrees. There's the positive comparison. If we're only describing one of something, it's a positive form of the adjective. If we're comparing, that's a comparative form, like Jim is taller than George. That ER shows comparative. Superlative is 3 or more. Bill is the tallest, add EST, the tallest. Now, depending on how long the adjective is, you add more, most, less, least, ER, EST. If you're not sure those rules, go back and watch the adjectives video. Proper adjectives come from proper nouns. America is a proper noun. American is a proper adjective. And then demonstrative adjectives points to particular nouns, like this pencil, that ball, these desks, those cleats are all adjectives there because they're talking about particular nouns. And they're usually accompanied by hand signals. Adverbs are similar, except they modify verbs, and this should say verb, adjective, or other adverb. Okay, so an adverb is a word that modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. And they also have the same degrees of comparison. You can have the positive adverb, a comparative adverb, or a superlative. He ran quickly. She ran more quickly than he did. He ran most quickly of everyone, okay? Or quickest, or something like that, okay? Most adverbs end in ly. Not all, but most do. So that's one way to find an adverb, is if it ends in ly, quickly, slowly, those types of words, probably adverbs. We also have pronouns. Pronouns take the place of nouns. They make our lives easier. There can be subject pronouns that takes the place of the subject of a sentence. These would be like I, we, he, she. I ran to the mall. I wouldn't say me ran to the mall. I is a subject pronoun. We is a subject pronoun. We are here, not us are here. Those are object pronouns. They receive the action of the verb. So you could say, he ran with me. He, subject, ran with me, object, receiving the action. So a pronoun has to match where it is in the sentence. Pronouns can also be indefinite, meaning they don't refer to anyone in particular. Anyone, everyone, everybody, anybody, nobody, somebody are indefinite pronouns. They're taking the place of a large group of people, but they're not talking about any of those people in specific. We also have, next we have our last three are prepositions, which are words that show relationship between a noun and another word in a sentence. Or another way of saying it, a preposition tells about a thing and its position. That's usually how prepositions work. They show position in time or space, and here are some examples of those. This is not the list of prepositions. There are many more than that. We also have prepositional phrases. These start with a preposition and they end with the noun or pronoun it's referring to. So here's an example. Mike ran to the mall. To would be the preposition. We go all the way to the next noun or pronoun, which is mall. So this whole thing here is the prepositional phrase. Now mall is still a noun, the is still an adjective, but they're part of the prepositional phrase. Okay? To is the preposition in that sentence. So if I ask you to find the preposition, you should write the word to. If I ask you to find the object of the preposition, you'd write the word mall. If I ask you to write the prepositional phrase, you write to the mall. Next we have conjunctions, which connect two parts of a sentence together. One way to remember most of them is fanboys, for, and, nor, or not, but, or, yet, so. Now there are some other ones, like because, however, although, also. Basically, if it's taking two separate parts of a sentence and combining them together using any of these words, it is a conjunction. Anytime you see the word and, it's a conjunction. It can't be anything else. Or for all of these words, it's the same thing. And lastly, we have interjections, which show extreme emotion or feeling. They're called interjections because usually you shout these to get someone's attention or to stop them from talking. But they can happen anywhere in a sentence. Most of the time they happen at the beginning, but they could come anywhere. Usually they're followed by an exclamation point, but they don't have to be. And usually you're trying to get someone's attention or express frustration, fear, or sadness. Help! That UGH would be an interjection. No, in fear or something in sadness, those would all be interjections. So those are the 8 parts of speech. If you are not sure about one of them, you need to go back and watch that video to figure them out. But now we're going to do some practice. Alright, practice 1 is going to be simply match the definition with its correct part of speech. So pause the video. You have these listed in your notes. Write the number next to each one, and when you're ready, hit play. Check your answers on the next page. So, if you are ready to go on, here we go. Here are the answers. And you can look through those, go back in your notes and correct those. This should be a pretty easy thing to do. If you're missing any, you need to practice those again before our final test. Alright, for practice activity number 2, you're going to take these 4 sentences and you're going to identify what each word, the part of speech for each word. So if a word is a noun, you're going to put an N underneath it. If it's a verb, you're going to put a V underneath it, or whatever. So every single word, you're going to identify the part of speech for it. So again, write these down. When you're ready, hit play. We'll go to the next slide and see the answers. Alright, if you're ready, here are the answers. And you can just read those below. If there's anything you are confused about, you may want to look back at your notes. You can ask Mr. Hayden in class one day. But hopefully you're getting these right. Alright, practice number 3 is going to just simply be answer these 6 questions. And when you're ready, hit play and go on to the next slide. Alright, if you're ready, here are the answers for practice 3. Oop, I gotta move that over just a little bit. Alright, so these are your answers in blue. Obviously there are more answers to question number 6. I just put a couple of possible ones. Anything that could describe that football. The word oblong would even work. Okay? If it said Wilson right here as a brand, you could use that. Alright, for practice number 4, answer these 5 questions. This is the picture you're using for question number 5, where it says write a prepositional phrase to show where this boy is in the picture. Okay? So answer these 4 questions and hit play and go on to the next slide. Alright, if you're ready, here we go, the answers to practice 4. And again, I have to adjust my screen. Sorry about that. Okay, so here are some answers. There are more answers to these 3. But just make sure you're not, for an adverb, you shouldn't be writing something like small. People can't walk small. Okay, make sure you're using adverbs, verb or words that end in ly. For the adjectives, make sure you're using words that describe people or nouns. Okay, these pronouns I think are about the only ones that could be used for Tony. Now for this, you did not want to write a sentence, just a prepositional phrase. So if you wrote the boy is sitting on top of the desk, that would be incorrect. I only wanted a prepositional phrase, starting with a preposition, ending with the object of the preposition. Alright, final practice for this. Just answer these 3 questions. And when you're ready, go on, hit play, and we'll go see the answers. Alright, if you're ready, here are the answers to practice 5. Over the bridge would be the prepositional phrase. Here are a couple of conjunctions. I really can't think of any other conjunctions that would work better, but there could be some other ones. And then these are just a couple interjections that you might use. Alright, last thing for this video is just to make sure you understand that you need to study for this. If you don't, you will fail. You need to practice for this. If you don't, you will fail. The test is on Friday, May 30th. So you've got 3 weeks from today to get yourself prepared and to ask questions. Check your answers, ask Mr. Hayden, stay after school on the study session, do what you have to do to be prepared.